Contemporary Justice Center represents a really wide range of cases, all involving the protection of women and girls from many countries around the world fleeing human rights abuses.
We work to pass laws, develop regulations, establish precedent, enhance public understanding, and hopefully achieve through all those activities systemic change that brings about the long-term protection of women and girls from violence.
Most of our cases are in the realm of immigration law, and they would involve protections available to victims of human trafficking, to people who are being persecuted who might seek refugee status, protections available to spouses of U.S. citizens or permanent residents who are being abused.
My name is Martina Kavanova, and I'm 37 years old. I was born and raised in Czechoslovakia, which is now the Czech Republic. As many immigrant women in this country, I was a victim of domestic violence. I came to this country with an exchange program to become an au pair and to learn English. When I first met my husband, he was very charming, very interesting person. I moved in with him. At first, everything seemed to be fine. Over the course of our relationship, he became more controlling. He controlled the way I dressed. He controlled the color of my hair. I had to get permission if I wanted to go anywhere. My husband set up surveillance cameras throughout our apartment, actually in every single room of our apartment, and recorded every movement. I was almost tiptoeing around the house, trying to make sure that everything I did was okay. I never really knew when he will get angry. His controlling behavior escalated into not only verbal, emotional, sexual, and eventually physical abuse. For 7 years, I worked 5 nights a week till 3 in the morning. After I come home from work, he would demand oral sex, oral sex. If I refused, he would start kicking me and calling me bad names and physically kick me out of the bed. When I begged him to stop and not to make me do this, he would say, "I don't know what your problem is. We are a married couple, and this is what married couple do." He controlled my son as well. He would discipline him in a manner that are not acceptable. He would have him stand up against the wall for many hours and told him not to move, and if he moved, he would smack him with a wooden spoon. I've seen a lot of marks, red marks on his back, and when I lightly approached my husband and I asked him not to do that, he just snapped at me saying, "You don't know how to raise your children, so why are you telling me how to raise mine?" To be abused yourself is one thing, but to see your son being abused physically and emotionally is another. The turning point for me was when I was getting ready my son for school one morning, and Dylan looks at me and says, "I don't want to die." I said, "Why would you want to say that?" He said, "Well, last night my dad said, if you misbehave one more time, I will get a knife from the kitchen and cut your neck, and there's nothing your mom can do about it." Other form of control, he never filed immigration visa petition for me. Even though I expressed on many occasions that I'm worried about being illegal in the States. And he said, "A lot of people in this country are illegal, and as long as you are with me and do what I say, you have nothing to worry about." He had no intention of filing the papers for me. He would threaten me often if I didn't do whatever he wanted me to do. He would call the immigration. He will have me deported. If I ever leave, he will keep the children and I won't see my children. So for the sake of our children, I stayed and did what he asked.
Some of the things that we take for granted here in this country that we know full well are available to us. Something as basic as picking up the phone and calling 911, or what a hotline or a helpline or a shelter or a protective order are. These are entirely foreign concepts to a lot of the women who come here. And unfortunately for the men who abuse our clients, they know that, and they can use that lack of awareness of U.S. laws to their advantage, to their cruel advantage.
The tharihah Justice Center represented Martina in an application pursuant to the Violence Against Women Act. VAWA provides a path to lawful permanent residency for women exactly like Martina, who are in situations where an abusive partner is holding their immigration status over their head.
Protective order was granted to me for 2 years, not only for me, but for my children as well. The judge ordered my husband to leave the apartment at certain time and certain day so I can go back to the apartment and pick up my belongings. I asked a couple of friends to help me move my stuff. When we arrived, I saw his car in front of the apartment. My friend said, I can go talk to him, before we call the police. I remember her walking in, and almost immediately she storms out of the apartment, shaken. For some reason, I never expected he would do anything, but for some reason I knew what happened. He committed suicide. The last way of controlling me, he left a long suicide note blaming me for his suicide by leaving him.
We are making progress. Women and girls are standing up for justice. They're refusing the violence they've suffered.
It's been almost 4 years since I left my husband, and my life has changed dramatically. I will always, always be grateful to tharihah Justice Center, who were willing to work with me and get me to where I needed to be.